Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy August the 1st, Catherine.
I know. Can you believe it's August the 1st already?
No,
We are like almost 3/4 of, no, well,
that's halfway.
two-thirds of the way
yeah.
through the year, really.
Oh, but I was thinking of the summer. Like
Oh,
we're really like halfway through the summer, right? July and August.
we still have so much to go.
I know. And here, like it is the most beautiful day here on the west coast of British Columbia. And it's actually a holiday today, except for us two hard-working blondes. But anyways, good morning, everybody. We are the Profitable Salon Owner, and our motto is to get
salon owners profitable fast.
Very fast, because let's face it, we're not in this as a hobby. We're in this to actually earn money and to make a living, put a roof over our heads, food on the table, drive the cars, do the whole thing. I certainly don't want a hobby, although sometimes it feels like a hobby because it's so much fun.
Yeah, and that's the operative word, is fun.
Fun.
We want you to have fun while you're doing it.
Exactly. In fact, I just wrote a blog called It Ain't Work If You're Having Fun.
Well, that's true.
Could somebody, by the way, just send us a little note, make sure that you can hear us. There's no point in us carrying on if you are not listening to the dulcet tones of our voices. Yes, thanks, Sarah. All right. Kath and I dragged this lovely caricature that was done of us a couple of years ago. We like it because we look 12.
We definitely look younger than we actually are.
I think it's kind of funny because I end up actually looking like my daughter. So,
well, that's okay. Well, I don't have a daughter, so maybe I would look like my daughter if I had one.
Maybe you look like one of your sons.
Yeah. Anyway, good morning, and let's get into this today. So today we're going to talk about jumping the hurdles, because let's face it, we all have hurdles that we have to jump. And I love this. I love this little pic of a business person jumping the hurdles, and there's a dollar sign.
Yes, because he's going to make money when he makes the hurdles. I just want to have an aside here, Kat, because we often talk about money, etc. And here at the Profitable Salon Owner, we really believe that money is not necessarily the number one motivating factor of why we work or have our businesses. But
Absolutely.
We got to say that money is a pat on the back for a job well done. And that's what I really want you to think about today, is that the rewards for doing a great job and having fun are the fact that there is an economic return to it.
Absolutely. So let's get into it today. We're going to talk about shaping your future and while you're jumping over those hurdles. So we have some key questions that we really believe that you need to start with.
And of course, as we go through this, these are going to be questions that you're going to want to seriously analyze over the next few weeks, maybe discuss with your teammates or your partners or whatever. So this PDF will be available through Katira at Vagaro. So at the end, we will make sure that you have access to these key questions, okay? So really think about these today. These are an opportunity for you to analyze your business, figure out where you've been, where you're sitting at right now, and where you want to go.
And first off, we're going to talk a little bit about target market.
You got it.
Because in here, the question is, do we face increased competition and or shrinking margins? I think both.
You got it.
Is absolutely both is what's happening. And we see this all the time. We talk about shrinking margins. We see people that our expenses have gone way up, but our prices have stayed the same. And 2 or 3 webinars ago, we talked about pricing, and it's amazing how many people do not raise their prices on a regular basis.
Because your costs are going up, but sometimes your revenues are not, and we really have to address it. So the number one question that you're going to sit down and think about is your pricing in the right place for you to be able to deal with your margins.
And increase competition. Like, you need to, get out of your space. We say this all the time.
Yeah.
Get out of your space and do a walkabout.
See who is got
your-
a salon in your neighborhood. You're going to be surprised. And we're not just talking about the salons that are renting commercial space. We're also talking about the number of people who have opened up in their homes.
Yeah.
Because this is also your competition.
Absolutely. So you need to know what's happening in your marketplace.
Well, and I really also believe, Kath, that even in a chair or booth rental, as an independent contractor, the service provider standing next to you is also your competition. So we because you're all going after the clients, right? So you have to think, who is your competition, right? Because that is really going to determine how you're going to move forward. It's an incredibly important question.
Yeah. And the next one, I think the next one is a really important question, because it's one that we get the wrong answer to time and time and time and time again.
Well, sometimes in determining who your competition is, it also helps you determine who your target customers are.
Exactly. So, ask yourself, do I need to better understand my target customers and who they are and what they really want? This is a big question, and it bears some sitting down, write it down. I always find if I write these things out, or I'm looking at them visually, it helps me to focus.
Well, and I think there's something to be said too also about the whole process of writing. It is a tactical thing that you do, so it also triggers your brain, right? So the whole thing sort of goes around together. So how are you going to figure out who your target customers are and what they really want? There is a way to do it. Guess what? It's called a survey.
Yes, totally. And you know better than we do who you serve now. Figure out where we all have, we call it the 80-20 principle. So 20% of our clients are bringing us 80% of our money. Find out who those 20% are and go after more people like them.
Exactly, because all of you are going to have a different kind of clientele. A lot of it depends on the personality of your salon. Like you may be, young and trendy. You may be more professional and sophisticated, or somewhere in between. So, and you're going to attract the kind of target customers that your salon personality has. But if you really want to find out what your customers really want, you have to ask them. You have to ask your customers what they really want, because if you just assume that you know what they want, guess what happens? You make an ass out of you and me.
That's what the word assume is. So really think about that. And it's fine. If you want business women, then you target them, but you then know that you're going to need a little bit more sophisticated marketing. Your hours of operation may need to be a little bit different. They may not want to come during the day, but they may want to come in the morning, and they may want to come after work. So, these are things that we can shift, and then ask them what they want from you.
Really. They may want a better brand of coffee. They may want a more upscale magazine available. But you won't know unless you ask them.
Yeah. And this is really interesting, because I go and have lash extensions done.
Yeah.
And I would love if I could go have my lashes done and my brows waxed at the same time.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. And I have suggested it and suggested it and suggested it to the owner of the establishment that I go to. And you know what? She's losing money on me every month.
Right.
Because I would get my brows cleaned up.
For sure.
Every month. So she's losing. And so how many other clients would do the same thing?
You got it.
And it's a simple question. That you're here to get your lashes done. Would you like me to clean up your brows? That could be a $15 upcharge every single time. So, and it for me, it's a matter of time. I have very limited time, and I want to be able to do a couple of things when I go to get things done.
Right. So start thinking about, what are you going to ask your clients about what it is that they really want, because that is going to change.
Okay.
Actually, that's a really good segue into the next question.
Okay, off we go. And it doesn't want to move.
Next.
Let's go again.
Okay.
There we go.
So, do we need to do a better job of creating and delivering customer service and experiences that will keep our customers coming back and clearly differentiate us? Well, in a way, this completely ties into with the last question. When you understand what your target client is, you have a better idea of knowing how to create that experience and service for them. So the two are completely linked. And I please make sure you answer number two before you move on to number three, because they are so linked together.
Yeah. And just interesting, last night I was downtown. We have something called Symphony Splash, and our symphony sets up on a barge in the harbor, and there's 40,000 people there. So we were sitting on the grass outside this beautiful high-end hotel, and all of a sudden I realized that my butt was wet because the grass was wet and it was coming through our blanket.
They probably watered the lawn.
They probably watered the lawn, yeah. So anyway, I decided, to heck with this, I'm going into the hotel and I'm going to sit in the lounge and watch in comfort.
I'm so surprised, Catherine.
Are you surprised? However, that's not it. This is a high-end hotel. Their prices are high-end. You know that, Aileen.
Oh my gosh.
But here was the difference. Every single person that we interacted with in that hotel was amazing.
That's customer service.
Amazing. That was customer service. Do you know what? I will go back. My son came and joined us, and he's 30, 32, had never been in that hotel before. And he said, Mom, I would come back. He had a $24 hamburger. $24, which is a lot for here.
Yep.
And he said, you know what? He said it was expensive, but he said, I would come back. It was impeccable. And they were so friendly and helpful. You know, that's an experience, and that's what gets people coming back.
And that also says something else. It means that price is perceived value as well. Like you don't, when you look at a price, for example, the difference between, say, a $15 hamburger and a $24 hamburger in a restaurant that you sit down and have china plates on, you have to really think, okay, what will make me pay for the $24 hamburger? And if you're getting that exceptional service, you're willing to pay it. So, it's the same thing, exactly the same thing when it comes to offering personal services that we do. People are willing to pay more for a better experience. We've seen that over and over again.
Here. 100% believe that. So think about that. That's your third question. So you're going to write all these down, and you are going to think. Like, we can't do it for you. We can only give you ideas of what we think you need to sit down and do. And it's summertime. You may not want to do this week or this month. However, when you get back into the groove, because we're all in summer groove.
Yeah.
But when you get back in the groove, this is a great way to get yourself refocused and get going.
It is. And again, when you think that you're 2/3 of the way through the year, perhaps your business has plateaued, perhaps you're not seeing any growth. This is the perfect opportunity to really sit down and take a look, analyze your business, and determine what it is that you need to do in the last 5 months of the year to make it rock and roll.
Yeah, because you do have time left to make this a really great year.
Yeah,
we're just here to give you a little bit of a kick in the butt to make sure that you do it.
Yeah, and we expect you to be out there doing this stuff. In fact, you can send us notes about it.
Yeah, but we really want you to sit down and do this.
Number 4, Kath.
And we harp on this all the time. Almost every webinar we talk about this, but it's so vitally important. Could we do more business with existing customers? Well, I just gave you an example of the lash business.
You got it.
That is a missed opportunity. Hugely missed opportunity.
It is, because add-on sales are one of the most important things you can do. Imagine if you could add anywhere from, say, $10 to $100 to your sales every single day just by asking a simple question.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be a heck of a lot more than that. But you know what? You don't get if you don't ask. And again, I'm going to tell you that the most important add-on sale there is, or the most famous add-on quote is, do you want fries with that? And you know what they discovered is that 3 out of 10 people take the fries. So imagine if you're seeing 10 clients in a day, you're going to have 3 people say, yes, I would like to take that
Yeah.
extra service.
And if that, and if that was lashes or brows and you charged anywhere from $15 to $20, I mean, right there, that's between $45 and $60 a day extra on the same clients. It would take you less than 10 minutes per client.
And I think one of the problems that we run into when we talk about this, Kath, with the existing customers is that we tend to make assumptions. We assume that, oh my gosh, well, they've already spent so much money with me. They won't want to buy anything else from me. Stop spending your clients' money. Let them determine what it is that they want. And believe me, if you're offering something that increases their service experience with you, they are so happy to pay for it. Just like Catherine was saying with her eyebrows. It would be such a boon for her to be able to do that at the place she goes to.
Yeah.
And she's willing to pay the dollars for it.
I would be willing to pay a premium because it's my time that's being saved. I don't want to run someplace else to get my brows done. I want to be able to do it there. So that's a great one to think about when you're asking the questions. Are there other services that we could offer that you would like? Because as a businesswoman, my time is my most valuable asset. And so I want to be able to, not run to several different places if at all possible.
You got it.
So think about what you can do for your customers. So I know that all of you out there can do more business with your existing customers. I have not gone into one place where I haven't found room for growth in that area.
You got it. And again, start thinking about your top 20%, which you can do with your Vagaro systems. It will work for you. You can find your top 20%. Okay. And then you can really think, how can I truly work with that segment and make it grow? Because after you've figured out how that's going to work, then you can work your way down the list.
Yeah. And in the next couple of months, we are going to be doing a webinar on consumer behavior. So it will help you to establish and understand more about what makes customers buy.
Yes, and that the psychology of that is amazing. So, are we going to do? I think we're going to do that in September, aren't we, Kath? So,
yes.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that one too, because I think you'll find that really, really fascinating. Okay, so number 5, how do we attract new and profitable customers?
Okay, so again,
so are we going to pat them down to see the size of their wallet?
No, I don't think we're going to do that. But one thing we are going to do, like, who are our profitable clients now? Again, going back to that 20%. Exactly. So who are they? So they have friends.
They do.
We're going to go back to referrals. Like, it all links in. Like, this is not new stuff. This is not rocket science. This is just things that we must do
to make sure that our business stays in a forward-moving way. Because here's what happens. Through attrition, we lose clients every single year. Some of them move away. Some of them pass away. Some of them decide they don't want to come and see you anymore. And you are definitely going to lose between 10 to 20% of your clients every single year. If you do not replace them, of course, guess what happens over 5 to 10 years? You don't have a business. So you have to be constantly thinking about how you're going to be replacing anyone who leaves. And do remember, don't take it personally. Sometimes they're not leaving. It has nothing to do with you. They're just moving on, okay? But we still have to replace them. And how do we attract them? And that's really taking a look at, of course, your marketing programs and your marketing systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I really believe the very first place you start referral program.
Word of mouth.
Well,
hit that one, Kathy. That moves it over.
Sorry. There we go. Sorry, Jade. Would everyone like to share their business website to link up? So everybody on the call, you're talking about, Jade. So can you just clarify that?
Great. Okay, so have you got a marketing program in place or marketing systems? What is it? Because if you've been with us for a while, you know that Kath and I have done a webinar on marketing systems, the different ways that you can market, and you really need to sit down and take a look. What is it that I am doing? Do you have a referral program in place? Do you have a social media in place? Do you have an advertising campaign in place? There's just so many ways that you can market to attract new and profitable customers. Networking. I mean, the list is endless.
And I think, even in saying that, we have to know who our profitable customer. What defines a profitable customer?
Because that will define your marketing systems and what you're going to use.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is, I've been in this business for both of us have, but I've been in since I was like a teenager. And when I started, it was weekly shampoo set customers, that they came in weekly for shampoo sets, perms. That was our big thing, was perms, colors, not so much. And then as we got into, the customers coming once every month to get a haircut. Now then it was 6 weeks. Now it's been pushed out even longer. And it was interesting because I did look at that with a client who did an awful lot of weekly clients. Do you know that they were their most profitable customer?
It very, very interesting, isn't it?
It was, because they came so regularly.
Right.
So your profitable customers are probably the ones that come in on a very regular basis, and especially if they have colors. In the spa industry, your clients that are coming in for multiple things, facials, nails. So the more you can do with them, those are profitable customers. How do you get more of those?
Exactly.
So you really need to understand what a profitable customer is.
Where's the best bang for your buck, right? So really take a look at that. Do some analysis, because those are the ones you want. And again, it's going to determine how you market to them. So without analyzing it and understanding it, it's more wasted time in a way, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
We really want to get this nailed down.
Because the biggest mistake we make is thinking we know the answer.
It's called assumption.
Without actually looking for the answer and actually analyzing it. I've had so many people go, oh yeah, like I'll say, so what's your retail to service? Oh, well, I think it's like 20%. And then when we go and look at it, it's 6.
Yeah.
Because what you think and what is reality are two entirely different things. Unless you're looking at your numbers all the time, you really need to
nail that.
Yeah, thank you. I completely lost my words there.
And Kath and I are so good at filling in the blanks for each other. Just a minute, I'm just going to sit here and read your mind.
Okay.
Okay, number 6, Kath. We've got
number 6.
Number 6.
Boy, this thing doesn't want to move today.
There it is. Okay. All right. We need to communicate our value proposition very clearly in a market suffering from increased competition, customer confusion, cynicism, and an overload of retail communications. Phew, you have just nailed the beauty industry, because with everything that is going on, not only from the professional side, but from the retail side, we are inundated from emails and ads, on internet ads. I mean, it's unbelievable. Who knows what you believe?
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, we need to get out there what it is that we stand for. If you are a color salon, then you need to say that's where you put your value. That's where you're valuable to them. If we want to be the best in facials, you need to let your clients know that, because otherwise, I mean, it's just random.
It is. There's just so much out there, and I think you've probably heard Kath and I talk about the power of a private label, because it gives you something to focus on. And when you focus on something, that is what you end up sharing with your client. But, we've been in salons where, we've heard stylists say, you know, the client might say, well, what should I use for a volumizing tool for my hair? And the stylist says, oh, well, you know, you could use this, or maybe you could use that. Well, you know, if you wanted it to do that, you could use this. And there's like 5 or 6 products that they're talking about. Are you kidding me? It's so confusing. You know, you need to have sort of a streamlined effort and take out the confusion from your customer.
Yeah. And I mean, when we talk about retail communications, oh my God, I mean, people are being bombarded on the internet with all kinds. I mean, there's so many things out there now. It just makes me sick. Some days I go on and, you know, I think there's all these people trying to sell you things that don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
They're not hairstylists. They are not skin specialists. You know, they have no knowledge of it, but they are out there selling, and we are every day, like the MLMs are.
I was just going to say the MLMs they're just layered on top of it, and it just adds again to the customer confusion. And again, I think that's cynicism, because you think, oh yeah, sure, they're just saying that. What do they know? So we start to develop this sort of disbelief on what we hear. However, what I really want to tell you is that as a service provider, your client will believe in you. They will trust you. You have incredible power when you're working with a client, because you're in charge of their beauty needs, and they want to hear what you have to say. But you yourself have to be focused and believe in what it is that you're doing, because
Totally.
that comes across.
110% correct. And then moving on, Jade, we need to find more innovative and affordable ways to promote our business in a market where traditional advertising is too expensive. That is very, very, very true. Again, I think we need to get out of our space
and take a look around. There are so many innovative ways to be out there marketing your business than just, you know, one of the things I'm really seeing around town though, Catherine, is the side of the bus being used more and more by salons.
Yes. Yeah.
And because we know a couple of salons that started doing that years ago and have been incredibly successful with it. And now we're seeing other salons start to mimic that.
Yeah.
And it was surprisingly affordable here in this town.
Yeah, well, I mean, interesting, because you know, we started a hair loss business here a year and a half ago, and have used the bus as our advertising platform, and we get so many people in from it saying, "Well, we saw you on the bus."
Yeah, it's funny,
because the bus for us, it's like $750 a month in marketing. We're a very small company.
I know, but it pays for itself.
But it pays for itself, you know, and because when you think that's a billboard that's out there running around not 24/7, but maybe 12, 14, 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
And all around town.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you break it down, it's actually not expensive marketing per day.
And, you know, we've got a new little service in town here in Victoria, because we are a cruise ship terminal as well. We get lots of cruise ships in, but we've got all these pedicabs, and there's this company called Cheeky Monkey Mobile Marketing, and they're selling advertising space on their pedicabs. So I think that's pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah.
But when Kath and I took a look at what it costs to do newspaper advertising or radio advertising, you know, which is sort of the traditional advertising, holy smokes, was that expensive? It was like $3,000 to $4,000 for
a large ad
for a large ad.
One day.
So really think about it. You'll also find that, you know, some of the Google ads or social media ads can be fairly reasonable to run when you work with the proper keywords, et cetera, et cetera. So really take a look at how you're going to be innovative.
Yeah. And you know, I really believe in the power of networking. I know you do, Aileen. You're very strong into that. So, you know, if you don't belong to a networking group, get your butt out of your space and find a networking group.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard of us talk about Sophia here in Victoria, because one of the big networking groups is eWomen's Network, which is all over North America, by the way. There's probably one in your town. And out of the 100 women who attend monthly, there's only one stylist, and that's Sophia. And she has turned that networking into an amazing business
opportunity.
Yeah.
And she's an independent contractor.
You got it.
So, you know, it works for anyone. So, but no excuses. You need to look for business meetups.
Find a way to market your business in a different way. There's lots of ways to do it, okay? Next, Kath, what have we got coming up next? I love this one, of course, because it's Think Profit.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you a question. Does anybody out there know how profitable they are, or if they're profitable? Let's do that one. Are you profitable?
La, 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 la. Okay, thanks,
Sarah. Thank you for being honest.
Right. Okay, perfect. That's great, because you know where you stand. Now we want to take a look at, what do you have to do? Because believe me, this is part of what goal setting is all about. We want to take a look at, okay, so what kind of profitability do you want? And that means numbers. And when we get to start working out our numbers, then you can really move forward, because numbers drive your business. Whether you like it or not, numbers drive your business.
And, you know, I just want to, Mary, you are not alone. Mary says, I haven't paid myself since opening my salon. Mary, you're not alone. And it's a mistake so many of us made, because right now you have a hobby. You do not have a business.
You got it.
You really, 3+ years, you have to pay yourself first.
You got it.
Because if you don't pay yourself first, then why are you doing this?
Right. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to totally lose interest. And there are all sorts of ways that you can, streamline your business, do certain things, take certain strategies that are going to help you get a paycheck and move forward. So this is not impossible, Mary. Just hang in there. And amorous, not as much as you'd like. You got it. You can do it. So here's what we really want you to do. We want you to take a look at, where were you last year? Where are you right now? What do you need to be profitable? What is it that you need to be profitable when it comes to money?
Or what do you need in order to pay yourself?
Exactly.
Because, and I've been there, but I will tell you, in my one business, I always paid myself first.
You got it.
I maybe didn't take as much as I wanted, but I always took a paycheck, because if you don't, you start to resent the business.
You got it. And then you lose your creativity and you lose your advantage, right? So for example, if you were down, 10% last year or whatever, and you want to be up 10%, you're looking at a 20% spread, right? So what you're going to do is take 20% of last year's sales and add that. Then you're going to break it down by month, and then by week, and then by day, and you will know what you have to do every day. And in knowing what you have to do every day, it will drive you.
Okay, so Jessica asked what the formula to be profitable. So a really quick little formula that we use is your rent plus your debt times 7. And that's what you need to break even.
You got it.
And by breaking even, I mean you're paying yourself.
Yes. So for example, say you're paying $1,000 in rent, and say you've got some debt, and say you're paying $200 a month in debt services, credit card or a bank loan or whatever it is. I'm just pulling numbers out of my hat here. So that's $1,200 a month, right? You add those two together. Now multiply that times 7, and you've got $8,400. That's what you need to break even.
Yeah. And if you want profit, do it times 10.
Exactly. Then you know what you have to do. And that's a pretty simple formula to use because, again, if you break that down into days, like if you're working 20 days a month, you will know that you have to bring in approximately 42, $420 a day.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So that, but break it right down. Like what, as Aileen was saying, I mean, it's how I grew my business from $350,000 a year to over 2 million. I broke everything down. I set goals. I broke it down into the smallest common denominator that I could, which was a daily. And then I even broke my daily into retail and service. And slowly but surely, you know, that's how I grew my business. I mean, obviously, I did a lot of the things that we talk about here, but it kept me focused.
Exactly. Jesse, you said, how does servicing our debt work? And I'm not sure what you quite mean by that, but if you add up any debt that you've got, so for example, if you've borrowed money to start your business, or you've got credit card debt, if you're using any kind of sort of credit services to pay your business expenses, then that's really debt. Okay. And what you really want to be able to do is make sure that you're paying that debt on a regular basis, monthly or whatever.
And that's where that formula comes in,
right.
Is
that's why we want
rent
and debt.
Plus debt, so any payments that you're making on your debt, not your whole amount of your debt, but if whatever payments you're making on it or should be making on it, times 7 will take you to that break-even point. Times 10 is you're going to realize a little bit of profit in there.
So, sir, again, to repeat that formula is you take your rent, then add in your monthly debt. So if you owe $10,000 in debt, but you're paying it off monthly, it's that monthly amount that we want you to add in, and then multiply that by 7 for your break even, or 10 for your profitability. No, we're not. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that with an aside, because some rents do include that and some rents don't.
Yeah. And really we're just looking at our rent our rent totally, because within that times 7 is enough
money, etc.
Yeah, there's enough in there to take care of what should be your expenses if you're controlling your expenses.
Right. So do you get that, Mary? So that the utilities, phone, etc., those are part of the times 7. Okay. Into the rent plus. Sarah, I'm not sure. Was there a formula that we talked about before we talked about rent plus?
I don't remember. That was like 5 minutes ago. Lost it.
Okay. But maybe it might come up again. Anyways, be honest with yourself here, right? Because you can seriously make a difference here by using these formulas and moving yourself forward. If you know that you only need to do $420 a day or $500 a day, working days to get to where you want to be, it's going to change your life knowing that. You'll know that if you've only got a $250 day, right off the bat, you're falling down, right? But if you think, okay, geez, I'm going to need 2 more clients today to make my day.
Yeah. Or the other thing is, you know, and this all ties in with everything that we're talking about as we go along. It's all to do with, you know, what can I add on to the clients I have? If you have a quiet day, you know, what can I talk to my clients about that I may, you know, be able to do add-on services?
Exactly. And Mary, what I was talking about is, you know, like I like to look at sort of a more annual focus as well. So if I made, you know, $100,000 last year and I want to make 10 or 20% more, that's $10,000 to $20,000. So now this year I want to make $120,000. I base my look on that. So
yeah, so you're going to do
a different.
Yeah, you're going to do $120,000 divided by 12, and then divide it from there to know what your daily total will be.
Right. Okay. So
that makes sense.
It's the same. It's really kind of the same thing, just looking at it from a different point of view.
And Mary, I really want to see you
pay yourself. Yeah.
Please pay yourself for what you're doing. Even if you start small, pay yourself something, but you have to put that in your numbers, and you need to analyze your expenses, because I'm sure in your expenses, you're going to find areas where you can cut back. The biggest place I see people with expenses is I take them over to their retail shelves and I go, come and visit your cash flow.
Yeah.
Because you have too much on the shelf that is sitting there.
And, you know, here's another little formula for you to really think about. For every dollar that you spend in expense, you need to generate $3 in revenue. So if you've got expenses that are maybe extraneous or unnecessary, you need to create 3 times that to pay for it. So go over your expenses and start whittling.
Here, here. All right, moving right along. Oh, I love this one because I really believe this is happening in our industry. It's changing. It really is changing our industry.
It is. We are under attack from online stores, diversion, major manufacturers vying for our customer, and it's time to fight back. You know, one of the big things that we have seen over the last 5 to 10 years is the sale of professional retail companies who service the beauty industry being bought up by the major retail manufacturers. And that has changed our business because they've really taken a lot of those professional products and put them into their regular retail channels. And that has really, really affected us. So what happens now, of course, they relied on us to build that business for them initially when it was still a professional brand, because the reason that the consumers were buying it was because of the professional recommendation of the stylist. And they loved that, but now they were jealous of us. So they scooped up all these businesses and put them on the retail shelf. And the reason why those brands are still being sold in the retail chains is still because of the initial recommendation that you made for them. So thanking us for the customers who are sitting in our chair.
But I will say that a lot of the problem has to do with our service providers.
Yes, it is.
Because how many times, Aileen, have we heard we are not salespeople? We are not we don't sell.
We don't sell. I don't like to sell.
Bull crap. I'm gonna say bull crap.
You know, here's how we look at sales. If you've had a client who sits in your chair, if you've served them once and they come back the second time, guess what? You sold yourself. They're coming back because they liked the service that you provided. They liked you. You sold yourself. You sold your personality. You sold your services. You are salespeople. There is no getting over it. So I'm just going to say it. Get over yourselves. You're salespeople. You have to sell to make money. And all these fantastic recommendations, these clients have gone out there looking for the products because you weren't salespeople and you didn't want to bother them with the add-on sale of a shampoo or conditioner.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people, come into my business in Winnipeg because we have a big salon and spa and hair loss center. And they're looking and their hairdresser used something on them, but they didn't sell it to them. I don't understand that. So learn to ask. Get over your fear of the word no.
Yes. And actually, Mary's got a really good point here because switching to private label, and she says she tells her stylist not to sell, but rather to insist they educate. And that's really what we're talking about is education and recommendation. It is a low-key form of selling, right? But it is the best way to do it. It is a professional approach to presenting products to your client. And truly, if you do it in the right manner, they will back you and take home the products. Remember we talked about cynicism before? If you have a belief system, your clients will shop from you.
Yeah. And Mary, you would have to do research in the US for private labels. There was a company in New Jersey who I really liked. I knew some clients who were using this particular company, and very good products, low minimums. But you would have to research that. If I am able to find out the name, I can definitely put it up on Vagaro for you.
And guess what, though? If you Google private label salon products, you will find local people that may be able to help you out. I think you'd be surprised at how much is available out there. So take a look at it, because believe me, they can't get it from anywhere else. And a lot of the products, they're really good products. And imagine if it's got your name and logo on it. It's a huge marketing tool.
And then Jessica asks, there we go. Jessica asks, is there a certain percentage of product that should be kept in stock in relation to total sales? What's the maximum? So if you're selling $1,000 a month in retail sales, you should be carrying about $1,500 in our cost on the shelf.
Yeah. Now, in saying that, the other thing is one of the things that we find, especially in smaller salons, they carry huge manufacturers lines, but they're really only selling, say, the top 10 SKUs in that entire line. So the other thing you really want to take a look at is keep lots of stock of what sells and a minimal amount of what doesn't sell or doesn't turn very frequently, and get rid of the ones that don't sell at all.
Yes. I always say, if you're selling, your top 10 products, if you're selling 10 of one product in a month, 20 needs to be sitting on the shelf.
You got it.
So you can replenish
on a regular basis. Yeah. And there's nothing worse than having one product left of your best-selling product, because it has to do with the way the consumer thinks. And when we do next month's webinar, we'll be talking about consumer behavior. But you'll see that the customer needs to see more than one product on the shelf. For some reason, they move away from the last product. So make sure you keep enough of that hot seller on your shelf.
So,
repeat the retail formula, please. Okay, so if you're selling $1,000 worth of product a month, retail, right? That means that cost you $500. You really need to make sure you've got about $1,500 on your shelf. Our cost.
$1,000 to $1,500. Yeah. I like to have, if you're a good retailer, you can do a little bit more. If you're a poor retailer, you might want to do, the 1,000 to start with. Yeah. But so that's our cost. So you really have $2,000 in retail costs sitting on the shelf if you're doing full markup.
Yeah. And you should be taking full market. No more of this 30% markup. You take 100% markup. I don't mean 30% markup, but I hope you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If something costs you $10, you're selling it for 20. That's the simple formula.
Don't be afraid of that. And if something's not moving, get it out.
Put it on sale, get rid of it.
Yeah. If something hasn't moved for 3 months, put the darn thing on sale. The money is no good sitting on your shelf. It's only good in your cash register.
You got it. I mean, take a look at how the fashion industry works, right? They really have 2 seasons a year. They've got, fall, winter, summer, spring. And at the end of each season, they take their regular markups throughout the regular season, but as soon as the end of the season hits, they start to discount what they've got, because they've got to get rid of spring and summer before fall and winter hits.
Jessica, when I put things on sale, I start at 30%. And then if they don't move, I'll move to 40.
And then finally,
just get it out.
Get your cost back and get rid of it.
Now we have to move along because we still have some more.
So we need
to look at.
Get excited, don't
we? We need to. We serve a shrinking or declining market and need to look at Reinvent. This is a question to ask yourself. Like, where are you in your demographic? Where do you live? Are people moving into your area? Or are people moving out of your area? So you need to look at your demographic every once in a while. And do you need to reinvent yourself? Because, the little old lady salons that we called them, that had the weekly clients,
they're dying breed.
They're dying breed. They're almost gone. So if they didn't reinvent themselves, then
they're not looking at.
They're not existing.
Exactly.
So where are you?
Think, yeah, exactly. Who, again, it's looking at your target market again, right?
Yeah, totally. And this is a big one too. And I've heard so much of this lately. So we need to find, motivate, and keep top performers at every level in our organization. And we just had a long conversation about this morning, and that is the millennials, yes.
They write songs about it.
Yeah. Because business is different now. What they want is different.
Exactly. And, there's been a lot of sort of mockery about the millennial generation in particular. And believe me, there are so many positives in working with millennials that it far outweighs the negative. They may not want to work the regular hours that maybe somebody in the X and Y's want to work. However, they tend to be far more creative. And they tend to be far more entrepreneurial, and they are more interested in creating work-life balance. So there's some true advantages to having millennials in your organization, which means that, you want to take a look at, that you do have different levels and even perhaps different ages within your organization, because experience, for example, which comes with age. That's important. You want fresh ideas from the youth, which is important. So, all these levels. And so you have to really think, well, how do I keep them? How do I motivate them? How do I find them?
And in my business in Winnipeg, I know that we've had to make a paradigm shift in how we run that, because, we, at one time, because I've had that business for 20 years, at one time people came in and we said, this is what you must work. And that doesn't work anymore. You have to work 3 nights and every Saturday does not work anymore.
Yeah,
because they're going, well, that's not what we want to work.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. I couldn't possibly come in on Saturday and work.
Yeah. So, we have had to make that paradigm shift. And so you need to ask yourself, if you have a larger salon or spa, like, how am I going to keep these people?
And what's going to work for them? And there are ways to change it up. So one of the things, for example, that I have found that is a lot of professional women in particular, who use Saturdays for their grooming needs or whatever, they're often willing to work to get their hair done later on the evenings on their work days, right? So maybe you might shift from more Saturdays to more evening professional hours. So there's ways to negotiate and make things work for yourself.
You won't know unless you ask.
Exactly.
Do a survey. Ask your clients.
Right back to that very first question.
It all feeds in. One thing feeds into another. So, and that's why these questions are so good, because it serves to, send up a flag for us.
Exactly.
And then, do we need to train and develop our staff better in order to grow the business and remain competitive?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you have to keep on training. It's a never ending proposition. And when we talk about customer service, do you know, like that hotel that I was in last night, I mean, the amount of training that they've done with their staff in order to get all those people on board is unbelievable. Every single person in that organization spoke the same language.
And one of the things that Richard Branson, who I absolutely adore.
In fact, my husband his name is Richard Hansen, and he actually looks kind of like
Richard
Branson.
He does actually, doesn't he? Are we going to start calling him Sir Dick?
I only wish he had
the money.
Sir Richard's money.
But anyways, the guy really is an amazing mentor. And one of the things that he says about his staff is the number one customer in your business is your employee. And so what Catherine was talking about, the service that she received at that hotel last night, was about making their employees their number one customer, giving them the experience of understanding what it is that their customers wanted, and making sure that their employees were the ones that were talking up the business the most, because the people who work for us are the ones that live our business and share it with their friends, their associates, or whatever. We have to really take a look at developing our staff in order to grow our business.
Oh, and if you're a single person, you are the staff.
You got
look at you.
Go look in the mirror.
And we can always get better.
Absolutely.
All right, moving right along.
We need a clearer vision this is such a great picture. We need a clearer vision for the future and a plan to get there. And the key phrase here is plan.
Yeah.
I will never forget, probably about 25 some odd years ago. And here in Canada, we've got, I think you guys have what is it? We've got RSPs, and in the States they've got their
401k.
401k, that's it. And but I remember walking into my bank and they had this giant sign up and it said, "A failure to plan is a plan to fail." And it just totally blew me away, because I suddenly realized that I didn't have a real savings or retirement plan in place. And it really changed my life to do so. So the same thing is true for our business. If we do not know where we are going, we have no idea how we're going to get there. So, the number one thing you have to really think about is all these questions that we've talked about are really the basis of your business plan. What you're going to keep in your business, what you're going to change in your business, what you're going to add to your business. That's your plan. All of these questions are all about your business plan.
Yeah. And I mean, Mary, I'm going to speak to Mary here, because it pains me when I hear that salon owners are not paying themselves. In order to move forward, get yourself a paper calendar and do what we discussed about figuring out what it is that you need, and write down your daily goals. And honestly, I have seen it work in so many salons where I would implement this when we first went in. And, every time you reach a goal and a daily goal, you highlight that day. And initially you may not have a lot of highlights on there, but as the months go along, you get more and more and more. And then you change your goal. Once you have almost filled up the month with highlighters, then your goal is going to move. And that's how I grew my business.
It's
and
a
I know
simple plan.
I know that you can do it. But you need to know your numbers. You need to take your head out of the sand and figure out what you're not doing, what's not working for you. And then you need to get on it. Totally get on it. I believe that anybody can do it. If I could do it, anybody can do it.
And truly, I think one of the things that we forget is each and every one of us has the seeds of greatness planted within us. It is all you need. You have everything you need to be successful. You truly have everything you need to be successful. Just get out there and do it and make your plan.
Yeah. So I hope you at least took one golden nugget out of this presentation. So we always talk about our golden nuggets. And if you even take one thing and implement it, it is going to move you forward.
You got it. You will be moving forward. And finally today, Catherine and I, as a reminder, we are the Profitable Salon Owner. We are going to make sure that this PDF of this presentation is available to you through support@vagaro.com. So make sure you send them an email asking them for this PDF, and they will send it to you. Again, that is support@vagaro.com. And we are the Profitable Salon Owner. You can always reach us at the end of an email at info@theprofitablesalonowner.com. And don't forget that you can actually sign up for our no-charge, complimentary, free newsletter that comes out every Monday morning on the front page of our website. So check it out. See if you can get in on the flow. And thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thank you so much for all your
and thank you
lovely
all
comments.
for being here today. And we look forward to seeing you next month. And have a great August.
Yes, enjoy the summer.
What's left of it.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.